It's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my clock, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 problems, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
And good morning to my friends out there in YouTube world. Hello, TikTokers making it over to YouTube. Good morning to anybody that doesn't know who I am. The voice you're hearing is Kenny Glick. And today is March 16th, 2026. And our day is pretty much over. And we're navigating this market just as good as we do normally every other day. I was looking for a little bit more volatility over the weekend. This time it was quickly gobbled up on the NQ futures last night, just to give you an overview of where we're at right now, my friends. Market sold off into the close. UVXY was rallying into the close, which gave me permission to hold some SQQ over the weekend. And then last night, as SQQ starts to sell off, and you're reminded once again that shorting is short-lived and you're going to lose money, you get out. And here we are today. So back to just trading on what we see, and which is the best trade. Today we were trading NBIS. And it was a decent short pre-market. Again, VWAP break after the shuffle. Test from underneath gave you permission to short it. You don't want to stay short anything going into the open. So we covered right before the open and exploded to the open. New long until it finally rolled over. Test from underneath. And now it's been a short again. If you guys were debating about whether to short the Qs, we finally had an opportunity, not on the rollover, but here on the VWAP battle. Rolls over, tests from underneath, then it rolls over, giving me permission to finally get short. And again, got to the bottom of the 930 range where we got not excited, because you're never really excited about being short the Qs because you know you're a faux show bro away from having to get out. And just as I was saying that, it starts to rally and the trade was over. And then we had, oddly enough, somebody from the interweb was talking about Peloton this morning. And I was like, it doesn't look like anybody cares. And then suddenly I saw a 30,000 share order go through. And we were involved in Peloton. And it went to a big fat whole number. Pretty sweet trade. We were just talking about NVTS, massive fan of the stock. We're swinging it. We sell puts on it. Love the name. Think it's getting taken over. And then it had a big move right out of the gate. And then as much as I like the stock, and I do think it's getting taken over, and I think it's going to go back to 15, it became a fantastic short. And tested from underneath. Can't get over it. Rejected. Now you're shorting here with a whopping nickel risk for the VWAP retrace and the wonderful world that we live in. Blue line to orange line. Good morning from Lakeland, Florida. What's up, cuz? Got a cousin in Lakeland. So that's where we're at. And it's been a pretty good morning. I thought it'd be a little bit more boring because it seemed like we were back to Monday gap and go, which we usually gap, go, sit, close. But we got a lot more action than I thought we were going to get, which is fantastic because that tells me that the sellers are still out there. We're getting chances to be long and short in the same day, making it a great trading environment, especially if you're trading VWAP exclusively like we do, and staying focused. And if there's no earnings reports, go to the stocks that are in the news. And what was in the news today? NBIS, Peloton, And then I went back to check on some of my old faves. There's the Alcoa. We love me some Alcoa. RGTI, when I started seeing the quantum names rolling over, that's a 1-minute multi-day VWAP reversal. Obviously, NVTS turned out to be pretty nice. And that's the whole day. The list doesn't have to be long. When you're a trader, quality over quantity always. I'd rather do 2 good trades than be all over the place, chopping and churning my own account, running after every name that's moving. So I stick to the stocks that I like trading. Obviously, love me some NVTS. And if you guys trade open, that wasn't bad today. But QQQ, UVXY, again, I have 3 or 4 names that I'm familiar with from every sector. So when I see that sector moving, I go right to the one that I like to trade. And I saw the quantum names getting weak. So I went and traded RGTI. And a big takeaway from this NVTS trade is, let me say this out loud again. I own the stock. In theory, I sell puts on it below 750. And we've been doing that for over 2 years. It's been a winning trade. My son, he doesn't trade too much anymore, but he sells puts on the Qs. He sells puts on a few stocks that we've liked. This stock, here's a 4-year chart. Let me show you to you on a... This is NVTS. Might as well have these conversations now. Here's NVTS on a weekly. If you've owned this stock the whole time, what do you got? Since 2021. You got squadoosh. That's what you got. Right? You got squadoosh. When we first learned about this stock, even before that, I've been trading this stock for more than... It's been even longer than this. But I was pretty convinced this thing was around in 2020. Wait a minute, go back. What was the year? This thing didn't come out of a SPAC, did it? This wasn't a SPAC. Maybe it was. I'm just misremembering, but that's okay. Oh, it does look like a SPAC. Okay, I'm misremembering. Anyway, but this thing's been a takeover rumor since inception, right? And I was in it for a while, didn't take my profit, gave it all back. So now the stock basically goes sideways, right? But it's in a beautiful trading range. I mean, these are great buys. This is 7 to 10, 7 to 11, 7 to 10. And the reason we bought it again, because the trading range is intact until it's not. So what also I do is I sell puts on the stock, assuming it's never going to break this price, so I could sell some 7s, some 6s, and some 5s. All right, enough of that conversation. Who cares? I like the stock, and I've been making money swinging it down there, selling puts. Okay, now let's fast forward to the reality that we live in. I don't care. I don't care if it gets taken over. I don't care if this thing goes to 0. I don't care if it goes to 50. I don't care. I know the stock exists, and I've been getting paid on it. But today, I saw it ripping out of the open, and my immediate thought was, when do I short it? Because stocks that rip out of the gate in the wonderful world that we live in right now, they're becoming short opportunities because someone who's in this stock at 750, thank you very much. Appreciate you if you gave me my attaboy on this trade right here. You bought it 2 weeks ago at 750. Maybe you were one of those people that sold it when it broke VWAP. So I know the profit takers are going to be wanting to run out of there because the stock is trapped in this range. And every time it looks like it's going to break out, it sells off. So that was my premise. Will NVTS disappoint the longs again? And the answer was, I have no idea. But then the answer was yes. VWAP test from underneath. Now I got permission. So here's a stock that I do think is going back to 15, 17, maybe even take over at 20. Here's a stock that I sell puts on. Here's a stock that I sort of own. And it became my favorite short because I trade VWAP intraday, blue line, orange line trades. And I know that's how the market works. So I can isolate this stock Obviously, I'm watching it because I'm in it. I like it, but I'm shorting it. And if you don't understand now, that's trading in itself. It's not about what you think is going to happen. If you're going to be a trader intraday, quote unquote, day trading, you don't care about anything else except for what's happening today. And then you just have a little inkling of what's been going on with the stocks that you're trading. I know the stock just had a nice move. I know the stock tends to disappoint up at the upper range. There's my thesis. And then the trade takes root here. I don't got to be a hero and short it here, assuming it's going to disappoint. I wait for the assumption to be validated. Low risk trade, wonderful reward. Have a nice day. And not just trading, my friends. And we've been doing a lot of that lately. It's not about what you think. Right? And let me just reiterate one more time. I think the market might crash this Friday and Monday, or a combination of both, or possibly Monday, maybe Friday. But as I've been saying for the last 6 weeks, if not forever, don't buy extended buying outside. What am I trying to say there? I'm trying to say don't buy puts 4 weeks out with an anticipation of the market crashing. You'll get a much better price closer. And here we are. Right? Much better to buy those 580s today than last week, because look where the 580s are now for next week. And I'm looking at March 20th and the 23rd, because if it's going to happen, I don't want to miss it by a day. So I'm looking at 580s March 23rd. And look at the price now. All right, it's going to take a long time to scroll through that. Hang on, let me find them. And as I'm saying something about shorting, look at this market ripping. Plans all coming together. I could be here all week scrolling through these charts. It's just irresponsible. That's why I don't use this freaking thing. Yeah. It's much easier going here. Right? I bought a March 80 the other day for $5. They were up to 7. Now they're down to 2. But that's okay for me because I'm still looking to buy these. Because if I'm right, these are going to be worth $15 if I'm right. Because I think the Qs are going to 565. But this is now you see why I'm not buying them 3 weeks out or even a week out. Because now you're down 50%. Congratulations. Speculation. Don't need it. I don't need to speculate. So I have to speculate a little bit because I'm not going to be here to place the trade live. So if this market does exactly what I think it's going to do today, chop around, piss everybody off that's trying to go short, make it difficult like it's been. Tomorrow, more of the same. Wednesday, more of the same. Then I could buy those options 5 days out for probably $1. Or then I could buy the 600s. Instead of going too far out, I can make new adjustments to this trade if I want to speculate. Or I say to myself, who cares? Who cares? Because I know the trade that we do almost every day always shows up. I can make money any day I want. Not having to speculate, not buying puts, not selling straddles, not shorting UVXY, not doing put spreads, not selling NVTS puts, not doing any of that stuff. We have a trade that works almost every time it shows up. I could do that and just stay focused on 1 minute multi-day VWAP intraday reversals and take all my speculation and shove it. There's that choice, which is always a really great choice, especially if some of your speculation is betting against the market. That never goes down, ever. Welcome back to reality. See how it always comes back to that. Good luck. Good luck speculating. Because if you're going to speculate, you might as well speculate on the reality of the market, that it always seems to go up, no matter what, over every extended period of time. Welcome to reality. It's a great place to visit, better place to live. And that's my 2 cents for today. We're right in limbo. And I probably will buy some of those puts. I'm already in 2. Bought one on Friday just in case. But I'd rather make money on something where I have low risk and unusually large rewards than anything else. Owning stocks, speculation, selling puts, doing short strangles is all a very, very far distant second place. This trade works almost every time it shows up, and you make money. And then when the trade's over, the money's in your bank, in your account. It doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. So do you catch on to that concept, right? Right? You understand now? You can love a stock, but then it shows up as a short and you crush it. And on the flip side, you could think a stock is a joke that's headed to zero, and next thing you know, you're buying it, like Peloton this morning. And then there's one stock that nobody even suggested looking at, which I'm pretty sure at least somebody did. It's Adobe. Why? Because we traded it last week on earnings. Remember? And we got paid. So why not go give it a gander today? And then you see a faux show moment, and then a VWAP shuffle, creating a new range, and then a VWAP break and a test from on top. And you said, you know what? I'm going to buy some Adobe because it just did the thing that I wanted to see to confirm that the buyers are here. 246 gets you to the orange line, which is 251. Have a nice day. Right? This does not have to be difficult, my friends. Same symbols. Have a watch list of your own. Then check the stocks that are reporting earnings and stocks that are in the news, and go back to check on stocks that you traded last week, especially if they were because of earnings. Stocks that report earnings stay in play for at least 2 or 3 more days. Right? And then you realize, why did I buy this scanner? How many ideas could you possibly trade in one day? The essence of the quote-unquote scanner that they try to sell you on the interweb is to find the idea for you, right? Because only that scanner can find the idea that's the best to trade. By the way, that scanner is a scam. It doesn't exist. All scanners do is scan for parameters that you believe are going to be good trades. You still have to navigate the trade, put the trade on, raise your stop, sell into the moves, cover on the way down, and do the work. That's why I am your scanner. And if you're just joining us here for the first time, let me unveil my secret identity if you wanted to know. Not only am I the internet's #1 trader, I am Scan Man. And no, that's not me on the mountain. That would probably be the last thing I would ever do other than hang gliding. And no, actually, I'd probably hang glide before I would try to climb up a mountain. I'm scared of heights, so yeah, I wouldn't do any of that stuff. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, right? Also, just a brief reminder, right? Again, about that QQQ short, right? That's why you place stops on these trades. Stock got to where we thought it could go. You don't want the short to be over, but remember what I said. Oh, are you getting excited about being short the Qs? Start covering now. Anytime you're shorting the Qs and you get excited, immediately cover half of what you got because you're about to lose money. Never, ever will you ever be excited about being short the Qs ever again. I don't even care if the market crashes on Friday and Monday. Because Tuesday, even if we fell 39.7% on Friday and Monday, on Tuesday we'll go up 41.7%. Right in your dumb face. So if you're just joining us, please remember for the rest of your days, shorting is short-lived and you're going to die. And I haven't said this yet, but if you don't realize that Bitcoin is a leading indicator for the QQQ yet, it is. This market's not going to go down considerably. I'm talking about the Qs without the BTC rolling over and breaking that 60 again. So Bitcoin above 60, this market's going to stabilize. Bitcoin has to break 60 and now take the whole market down with it. Like it or not, Bitcoin's a leading indicator now, and it's telling us to be bullish. And here we are. I'm not going to fight the market. You guys trading WNEW? WNBC, WNEW FM. Scott Muni on the radio. Nice trade from earlier, right? WNEW, right? You guys know about MyWoo technology? Of course you do. They do that thing that nobody cares about tomorrow, right? MyWoo shares are trading higher after the company announced the introduction of strategic AI insights as part of its ongoing efforts to enhance research collaboration and operational efficiency across its functional skincare business. Right. Another company that just releases news and puts the word AI and hopes the stock gets squeezed. Right now it is. You know where the stock's going to be a couple of days from now? 0. But right now it's getting squeezed, right? So you rip it. Talk about Andy Dufresne. Holy shit. Sorry. Look at that Andy Dufresne. Holy freaking shit. Wow. Dude. Oh my God. Talk about Andy Dufresne and a Kardashian bottom. Oh my God. Look at this piece of shit. Probably goes to 100. Oh my God. WNBC. Holy crap. Look at this thing. By the way, the shittier the chart on these squeezes, the better. You just broke. Wow. You actually just went to the 666. Oh my God. Did it go to the same exact price? Stop it. Close enough. But you see what I'm saying now? If you've been sitting here listening to the commentary the whole morning, right? Everything I've been saying is working out, right? Typical Monday. You had your chance to short. Maybe you chose to short it in that one brief moment, or stick to what's working. Adobe's, NBIS, the Peloton, little NVTS short, VICR long, crushing UVXY every time it pops up. A lot better things to do with your money than shorting the market. And if I'm right about another bout of volatility coming in the next 10 or 15 days, who cares if I'm right or wrong? Make money. And today it could have been all about this garbage. That WNBC breaking out, right? You're going at $7.16 next. Oh, it's already there. Wow. Then you're looking at $7.50, and then you're in this candle, right? Then you're in that candle, and then you're in a gap. Then you're in a gap to $11.87. I mean, look at this piece of shit, right? The shittier, the better. And by the way, I mean that. If you haven't realized over the last 2 or 3 years, the dumbest, dirtiest, dungiest, is that a word? Dungiest, skelliest, scammiest stocks are the best ones when they move for day traders. It's these squeezes where you get paid on these $2 stocks. And this thing could go to $11.87 today, right? It could go all the way back to where it broke down from, which is way up here. Split adjusted, $19. And the fun part is, no matter how high it goes, it'll eventually be back at zero. That's the fun part about trading these WNEW stocks. Right? You trade what you see. Oh, it just got halted at $7.18. Yeah, that's a coincidence. Look at how it just got to that same price. Sick. Sick. You see, even these stocks obey. Breaks here, it's going here. That's it. That's the price. Look at the price. It's the same price. And that's where it got halted. So now you want to trade this thing out of a halt? I'll show you how to trade out of a halt. When it comes out of the halt, the low print from the halt is going to be your stop. If it immediately breaks it, you're out. But if it consolidates the open, when it comes out of the halt and it prints whatever the low print of the candle is, and it starts to rally, you just use that low print as your out. So let's watch and learn. What's the biggest bunch of bullshit you've ever heard? By the way, Adobe, man. Oh, the company. Yeah, it's a skincare company. Yeah, AI skincare. Right. Right. Any stock that's up over 100% is by definition a pump and dump. And that's what's fun about this stock. So if you watch this stock for the next week or two, it legitimately could go to $20 easy, right? It could even go way up here where it crashed from, $62 split adjusted, because that's the nature of the game. And there's no reverse stock split in here, which is usually there's a reverse stock split in there to get this thing party going. No reverse stock split, huh? Wow. So this stock legitimately crashed from 70 to 95 cents. That's not split adjusted prices. Wow. And by the way, here's another stock that I've been trading today. And this is just bizarre, right? So somebody asked me about this stock in Vegas, if I knew it. And this person went on for 15 minutes about how he loves the company. He doesn't know a stock that's more undervalued than this stock on the planet, right? So I was like, I know you, Amy. And he said, what? I'm like, yeah, I don't know stocks by the company's names. I just know them by the ticker, and if it makes me laugh. You, Amy. Hey, you, Amy. So I went back and I was like, oh, I saw you, Amy, moving this morning, right? And then it faux show bros at VWAP at 987, risking 7 whole cents on this trade, banging it out at 1017, which was a bad idea, but then 1050. And then if you use 1050 as your stop earlier, they got you. And look at this trade. By the way, I don't know what this one is. I forgot now. It's either drones, rare earths, or nuclear, or a combination of all three. I have no idea, but I had it on my watch list. Some dude was talking about it as his favorite stock, and I was like, oh, check it on that one. Anyway, just a lot of A lot of good insights today, if I don't say so myself. And it's certainly not about whether the market goes up or down. It's about staying true to your nature of being a day trader around volume weighted average price, using price action only, and staying focused and making the day's pay. And if you did well today, now you got some money that you could blow buying puts, because chances are the market's not going to crash on Friday. But you said it was going to. I know. And it still might. All right, let's trade some WNEW. Right? Already violating. Let's see what happened here. WNW. So first moment out of the halt, the bottom of the halt is your out. So if you're in it, now you have all the risk in the world contained right there. 681 is your stop, which would be a hard stop. Meaning I would dump everything you got, and that would be it. I would have just got stopped. Well, then again, it didn't actually break the 781, 681. You see how it never went 681 on the offer? That's the difference. Just like you need a stock to go bid. Now, if it goes 681 on the offer, it's over. And by the way, you see where it went to 748? Oh, can't even scrunch it up. All right, hold on a second. What I was going to say is if it breaks 748, it's gone. Because that's that spot. There it is. There it is. So you just got to that candle. Now you're in this candle. So you could start thinking this thing's about to go to 995. Geez Louise. 995. 995, he said. 995. There's nothing in between. So 750 looking like it's going to get you 10, but right now, if anybody's crazy enough to be in this, you know how significant 681 is now. You broke this double top 750. 750 just got you 820. So now, again, not your typical $7 stock where you got to risk $1.20 to be involved in it, but that's the nature of this $7 stock. No, I don't know if you want to stare at this one for the rest of the afternoon, but I'll tell you something. If it doesn't crash and it's still stable, meaning let's say between 6, 8, not even, let's see what the price it could fall to without really being completely damaged. I guess the 6 right here. So here's your 681, 650. Really, the back below that 6 where it broke from here, chances are you're about to roll and die. But if this stock is stable and doesn't want to die the whole day, and then it rallies into the aftermarket, you look for it to go up 300 more percent. Because if it stays stable and weird squeezy stocks go into the aftermarket still being squeezed, that's when they go even more parabolic. You think this is something? It could go to $60 in the aftermarket. Or at least 19. Now, while you're sitting here gawking about WNEW not breaking 681, this Adobe trade's turned out to be all right. Right? You don't got to be a hero. Adobe sets up for a long, you buy 100 shares, you make some money. Market's more or less just chopping and consolidating right now. Look at UVXY down 11%. So now the chop, you have to assume, will resolve itself to more upside. And we're still in a typical Monday. Gap, go, consolidate, sit, close. Here's another name we were trading recently. Oh, that's up huge already. G-Sit. Here, watch this. Let me show you this stock. Now, again, you want to buy something already up 17%? No. Does that mean it's not going to break 10 and rip further? No. So now look, pull it up on the chart. Remember this one? We were looking at it last week. Andy Dufresne coming out of the Andy Dufresne. Now you're breaking out. Million shares, not a lot. But what you want to see, if it chops and churns and beats people up here near the 10, if they start stacking size at 10 and then it breaks it, chances are you're about to rip another $1.50. Because this is not a bad looking chart. I was looking at this one last week for a possible breakout, and here it is. So now, again, chasing 20%, never a good idea. But if it consolidates up here, and then they start flashing big size at 10, and you see 10s being gobbled up, and then you go look at your dark pool scanner, and you see big blocks being traded, maybe you get involved. But let's go check WNEW again. Uh-oh. Flirting with you getting out. Let's see what happens at 681 this time. 681 has to go offer. They could, the stop hunters, they'll drop the bid below support to try to get stopped out. But once it goes to the offer side, then you know you got to do something. Just like a long trade, you want to see the bid go your way. If you're thinking about shorting or selling it, you need to get that offer needs to be the price that you don't want to see, not just the bid. you're saying? SMCI. You know what? This stock's due to make a bigger move. Either go to zero or come out of this Andy Dufresne, because it's been pretty much dead money. But still above the lows, trapped in this range. One of these days it's going to come out of this thing. But intraday, that's freaking artwork right there, my friend. Sick. So big move, just like NVTS, right? Big move up, you missed it. Confirmation as a short, blue line to the orange line because the market's rigged. It's rigged. And then it faux show bros at orange line. And not only is your short over, but your short is over and you're covering with limited risk and you're going long, I meant with limited risk. Blue line, orange line. Can't beat it, friends. That's why last night, if you're trading futures, here's the NQ. So no matter what you were thinking, market crashing, not crashing, war means something, it doesn't mean something. That's the only thing that means anything to you. Breaks VWAP, comes back, faux show bros at prior day VWAP. Nobody's shorting anymore. It's over. Bull market's back. Oh, wait. All right. Bull market never ended. But there it is. Once you see that, if the shakeout area is prior day VWAP and it holds, that's why I consistently say, hey, the market's allowed to go down now at least once in a while, but it's still a short-lived trade, and you're going to lose. And then it confirms. Look at the VWAP now is the 930. The 930 low is the VWAP now. And that's where we pulled back to. And that was our one short. Because shorting is short-lived, then we're going to not lose money if we're going to short. And that's it. We're done. I mean, how many trades are you going to find? You got a couple of weird names, a couple of go-to names like NVTS. Look how wonderful that NVTS short was, right? And this is how I became a trader, shorting stocks that I own, because I know if I sell them on the one or two pullbacks, I never buy them back. So I'd rather short them while they're weak, own them in my swing trade account or my investment account, and I just paid for owning the stock by shorting it today. Took the money, still own the stock, la-di-da. And WNEW, look, they just stopped a bunch of people out, right? So let's say your stop is still the 681. You're still in because it has to force you out. And that's a hard stop, assuming you only have the one 681, because if you're letting it breathe, you got to let it breathe really to just 650. So it's 681 and 650, and you're still in this stupid stock. Because if it breaks 820, you're still thinking $10 and then 40. All for $1 risk. I don't know what's going to do. But it ain't going down, right? Come on, AI skincare products. Fucking A. Here we go. By the way, I'm not in it. And if you are, I'm rooting for you because you're seeing it right. But seriously, AI skin products? It's probably a Chinese stock that doesn't even do anything. They don't make skincare products. AI skincare. That's a new one. We're using quantum computing, AI, and NVIDIA's chips to help us power our skincare design. And that's the scam. They just used every buzzword they could think of and released news, and then the stock goes up 400%. It's insane. But it's not, because that's the game. The guys over at Mew Woo 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 Technology Corp Company Limited know the scam. And if it is a Chinese stock, they definitely don't make skincare products. Not only do they not make skincare products, what the company is two Chinese kids sitting in a closet watching Silence of the Lambs, and they're on to that part where he's wearing the skin. Would ya? Would ya? And that's their business model. Good luck. Would ya? Oh, you about a size 14. Oh, yeah. Would ya? Look at this WNEW, man. Crushing shorts, right? See all this jiggling and chopping, right? You're a professional trader now. You don't care about this big, fat jiggle, chop candle. You're in it. You ain't getting out unless it hits $10 or 681 and 650, right? Let me remind you, later today, this afternoon, when I'm not around, and this thing's breaking, let's assume for a second 838 is the high of the day. You see this stock breaking 838 in the aftermarket tonight, it's going to go to 190. Because that's the nature of this market. When dog shit stocks come out of the squeezies, Andy Dufresne meets the Kardashian bottom, meets the short squeeze from hell. And let me reiterate, no matter how high it goes, and I'm saying it could go to 20, possibly 60, maybe $70. 3 days from now, you know where it'll be? Zero. Don't forget that part. Because when it starts to tank and it gets halted to the downside and they get investigated by the SEC for not being a real company and this thing opens up at 38 cents, don't say I didn't warn you. Inevitably, it will be at zero. But as a day trader, this is what you want. 76 million shares traded on a $5 stock, ripping all over the place with VWAP retracements. Now you're just trading price. You know how important that 750 range is. And you got your stops on, and now you can trade anything you want. Good times. And I'm hoping. I'd like to see this thing at 798 just to prove my point. Not 798. I meant to say 998. Because 998 is your next target. Why? Did you just ask why 998 is your next target? Let me show you. Because way back when this thing was having a rally once before, and you got to find it because it's such a disturbingly weird looking chart, right? Got to go back, and back to that. And if it breaks, sorry, it's 995. Sorry, I'm off by 3 cents. If it breaks 995, right? By the way, still all with that little low risk at 681, right? Look at this stupid chart. You breaks the 998. You got 1178 according to the computers. And if it breaks 1178, oh my freaking God. Then you're talking about 14 and a half. And again, the fun part is no matter how high it goes today or tomorrow, inevitably this stock will be at zero. But you see, once you establish risk, you're still in the name. Came out of the halt, right? Still hasn't broke that halt candle low. So you're in. Now, if you're in it still and you haven't taken any profits, you're psycho. It takes something somewhere on a way to 998. But if it breaks 998, you're legitimately looking for at least 1179. And all that for 30 or 40 cent a risk originally. So when you go on the internet later on, right, and they're talking about WNEW, I guarantee you there will be 3 people on the internet talking about how they were the only ones that knew about this stock. You don't got to be the first ones in. You don't need to know about them. Nobody knew about the stock except the insiders that concocted this scheme to get the squeeze going. You come in a little bit late, identify your risk, and you can participate in these stocks too. There you go. New highs, 950. You should get 998. Now, they might rug pull it at 998 right back down to $7. So get ready. That's why you're selling as it gets there. But if it breaks 998, if it goes 10 bid, the stock's going to 40. All right? See that? All that? Identify your risk. 998. Here we go. We're so close. 964. Come on. Prove me right. 998. I want to see 998. And then if it gets halted, it comes out of the halt above 10. You're thinking 1250 easy. 973. Come on. 74. 80. I said 998. Damn it. Get there. By the way, G-sit breaking 10 also. You're wondering. G-sit getting 10s over there. I'm not buying that one. But 986, I'm sorry if it doesn't get to 998, but you've got to have made at least a couple of $100 on the name, right? Guy in the back? Guy in the back, right? You were waiting for a trade all day, right? You didn't think it would be WNEW, some Chinese skincare company that doesn't exist, but that's how trading works. I didn't know this stock existed until about an hour and a half ago. Right? But when you could identify risk at 681, you buy it at 720. All right. Typically not risking 40 cents on a $7 stock, but bang, you got in, you got paid, it's about to get halted again. Be careful. It was looking like halty. It was looking like it was about to get halted, but they might rip it past 10, then halt it. Just remember, inevitably it's going to zero. Right? But right now, you got to be in it to win it. You gotta be in this thing still looking at if this thing breaks 998. Because you gotta seriously, 998, 1188 is the next area, and then $15. And then this thing could really squeeze actually to $30. That's so stupid. But it can. Look at this consolidation. If it gets through that noise right there, you're talking about $20. And if it gets through 20, you're talking about this is $30 over here. I mean, I doubt that's going to happen, but you can't say it can't. Oh, I was off by 8 cents, you bastard. I was so close. Oh, Kenny, you said 998, damn it. G-sit not as exciting, huh? $10 break went up 2 cents. Yeah, that stinks. But that G-sit's an interesting chart setup. So more importantly, Georgia is playing some loser team first round. I'm betting against Georgia. They went out in the first round of the NCAA tournament. By the way, Arkansas is no joke, man. Beating Vanderbilt there. Wow. You guys ready for some college basketball? Before I go, I'll try to organize the pool. $50. I'll give you this. I'll give you the link. $50. First place and second place. Maybe we do a third place, but usually I do top prize and then a second set of steak knives. Second prize. Look at, man, Michigan did not look like a good team last night. But if anyone's interested, I'll get that done tonight. I'll have the links ready. Figure $50, right? Everybody can rock a 50 spot. Win a two top two winners. We'll do it on Yahoo Finance or CBS, whichever I. Where'd we do it last time? It was CBS, I think. Bracketology or whatever. Anybody got a sleeper pick? My sleeper pick is bet against St. John's. They made them a 5. They're probably going to go out in the first round. Hofstra is in it. If you guys know anything about New York, they're a Long Island team. Alabama's my lock in the first round. Murray State involved? I didn't catch it, whether they were in it or not. Murray State usually a good first round pick, no matter what. Getting the points. It's been like a Actually, are those out yet? Yeah, now the brackets are out. We should be able to do this, right? Let me see what my CBS bracketology March Madness. Oh yeah, we're ready to go. All right, I'll start this tonight. So I'll put the link in the room. Yeah, LIU made it. Yeah, a lot of teams. LIU, and then I saw Queens made it, but that's not Queens. That's Queens in North Carolina, Queens College. Arkansas first round, good bet. They play in Hawaii. I'm taking North Iowa with the points over St. John's. Usually I take all 4 of the number 1 seeds in a 14 tease and tease all the points down just for fun. Opening round, I usually have like 20 different bets on. But I'm probably taking St. Louis over Georgia. Alabama big over Hofstra. All right, there's a couple of playing games. All right, so we won't actually know the main bracket until Tuesday night. All right, cool. We still got enough time. Uh-oh. Your WNEW trade's basically coming to an end. Sorry, I missed it by 8 cents. But now that you got a rug pull, if this thing comes back later, or even now, I mean, I guess if you're still using that stop down there, but, obviously you should have raised at this point. But if this thing does, even if it comes back to VWAP, and if faux show bros later, this thing wants to go for another ride into the close, could be crazy. when I used to work for a bookie, he used to tell me all these tricks about bets. Whenever somebody's playing against Hawaii, you try to find out when they flew in because they're always going to be jet lagged. Teams that have to fly to Hawaii, or when Hawaii had to fly to certain areas, he would just bet that. So Hawaii's playing Arkansas. That's Thursday at 4. If they fly in too late, they'll be jet lagged. Wow, this WNAW is certainly not dying. Jesus. Man, they just got most people out. That is impressive. All right, we'll talk more NCAA basketball later. I'm going to go get some breakfast. I got nothing going on. Not short the queues, not long the queues. Got nothing going on right now. If you trade this WNAW, good job. Still the same trade, but now that it had a little of a rug pull, that's your new stop. Now you don't let it break that. If you were using the 681 area, if you happen to still be in it, now you just raise it to that price. That's a no-brainer. All right? Be careful, folks. Nice hanging out. I'll be back later. I'll be here Tuesday. I'll be here Wednesday morning. I'm leaving Wednesday. And then we're going to try to have an all-star team from All-Star Charts show up to give our friend Solid a lending hand. Possibly Day Trader will be doing some airtime. Minotaur will be doing some airtime talking about futures trading. Don Corleone will be here multiple days. He might run the Schmooze Thursday, talk about, obviously, swinging and investing and mastery of your own domain, as he speaks of that. Vaz, talking about volume profile. She'll be here 1 or 2 days. So it should be an adventure. And we will be flooding. I don't know what I'm doing with the dungeon, but Vegas people, this will be your second week here. Hopefully you guys are making your decision. Thank you very much for that. 2 guys that are joined the family from Vegas. Welcome. My TikTokers down in the dungeon, my YouTubers, anybody that's still on the fence. Hopefully you guys are seeing how we do this. And a lot more fun stuff to happen in the next couple of years. But right now, I'm going to get some oatmeal and fruit, and I got nothing going on, and I'm probably going to stay that way. And if you need me, email me, KennyGlick, AOL.com. If you have been a member for over a couple of weeks and you didn't get your charts right, make sure you get your charts right. And speaking of charts, starting probably April, every Tuesday at 1, sessions with Solid. So we'll definitely have him at least once a week for about an hour or 2, where he'll be talking about his algorithm, setting up charts. If you don't have my chart, he'll set it up for you. He'll be doing it live in a separate room. All charting, all setups, scanners, algos, and everything that you love about Solid Jello for at least an hour, possibly 2. Tuesdays at 1. Which will also be a special added bonus to you yearly members, and hopefully you're all hunkering down for a year with us. And that's my story. All right, I'll see you in about an hour. Back, get it? Virginia going to win it all? Yeah. I'm not a hater of Virginia. I don't know. I like the way Vanderbilt was playing. That's my sleeper pick, but they have to get past the first round because that 5-12 thing is always a doozy. But that's why I love live betting. The big favorite comes out weak in the first half. You usually want to go second half favorite because they usually get their heads yelled at, caved in by their coach, and they come out blazing. All right, more about that later on. If you are still long this WNEW, congrats. If you're still long the Adobe, again, boring is good, right? And if you're still short RGTI, it's still working. A couple of the trades that we had on from earlier. Stock, you probably would have got squeezed right there. But anywho, I'll see you this afternoon. Be careful out there. And we'll address more of these stuff later today. See ya.